I'm Will Linez. I wear a few hats if you're around for the next day or so. I'm a professor in the Physics and Astronomy Department. I chair the Biochemistry Biophysics program. I manage the dual degree program, but I'm here today because I'm also the chair of the Health Professions Committee. And I'd like to just make the briefest of introductory remarks. I'll turn it over to my colleague, Dean Aronson, who will give a few introductory remarks, and then we'll turn it over to our panelists. And there's a great deal that we could say about the health professions at Amherst and after Amherst. Most of that's more information than you're in a position to process. But I do want to leave you with the idea that there's a group of us, a health professions committee, consisting of me and Dean Aronson as standing members, and some members of the chemistry, physics, biology, and other departments who serve to help students, to guide students and alumni through the process of considering, exploring the health professions while at Amherst, after Amherst, perhaps applying to careers in the health professions, managing their schedules while they're here, all kinds of things related to all kinds of health professions fields. We also try to maintain, in addition to a sort of a reservoir of expertise, technical expertise in the process of applying to medical school, dental school, veterinary school, all the other public health school, all the other health professions broadly construed. So we have technical expertise, and we try to maintain a sense of community, and we try to share our experiences and the experiences of alumni, of other students, with current students and alumni who are moving up through, trying to maintain some continuity between these communities. And let's see, Dick, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, just briefly, thank you all for coming. My name is Dick Aronson. I went to Amherst College, graduated from here, majored in religion, and did the pre-med. I went to medical school at the University of Rochester and became a pediatrician. I've been a practicing pediatrician and a public health professional before returning here to be the pre-health advisor. It's really an honor to be here at Amherst and to work with the students that I do, and as well as the young alumni. I just want to say a few words about the program and then turn it over to our great panel. We find every year that hearing from the students directly is the best way to really get the word out to you about what is the essence of our program and what are really the foundations and the experiences that the students are having here through pre-health. But just a couple of things. We look at health and healing very, very comprehensively and holistically. We consider health to be not just physical health, but mental and emotional health, to be environmental health, to be spiritual health, to be social health. And we realize that many, many factors, political, economic, cultural, social, biological, chemical, physical, many, many factors contribute to the health and well-being of people. And we try to create a foundation for our students who come out of Amherst to have experiences and to have learning and to have here a sense of community, which we feel is so important to going into the health professions. We don't feel that there is any one single path to becoming a health professional. We tailor it to each student. We emphasize that each person goes at their own pace and that they don't have to be, for example, like everybody else, even though they think that's the case. Actually, everybody else is not actually doing the same thing anyway, but they may think that. And the other thing that's really, really important is we emphasize that in order to take care of other people in your career, as well as while you're here, you need first to take care of yourself, take care of your own health and your own well-being. So we're very, very tuned into issues like stress and encouraging students to find ways to deal with stress in a healthy and positive way so that they can in turn be truly of service to other people, and to build their empathy and their humanism and their excellence as ultimately as health professionals. And my office is part of what's called the Loeb Center for Career Exploration and Planning, which is essentially the Career Center, and that's where my office is located. And I have a assistant who works with me as part of our team, who just started with us, and her name is Rebecca Counter. So between me and Rebecca and Professor Moynaz, we form the core of the advising team, and then we have the other members of the Health Professions Committee who are particularly helpful when students reach the final phase of this whole program, which is preparing for graduate school. So, with that introduction, I'm really excited for the panelists to share with you, and we'll start and ask each of you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jing Wen. I'm not actually on your booklets or handouts, but I'm a senior and I'm a biology major. And so on campus, I've done a lot of different things. And like Dean Aronson said, like this isn't like representative of anyone like pre-med experience. This is like my own experience and has like contributed sort of to the unique ways of things. So one of the big things I've done on campus is in the bio department as well for intro bio as well as for biochemistry labs. So that's a lot of work that I've done on like the science side of things. I've also done like mentorship things, like I'm on the peer mentoring program for pre-health students. This is like an opportunity where like first and second years are like an upperclassmen who can guide them through like a lot of like pre-health questions, or like what classes should I take, you know, what choice is best to make here. So that's a really cool thing. I was a pre-health mentee too, so like I benefited a lot from that when I was a first year, so I wanted to kind of give back to that when I was an upperclassman. I'm also a reading mentor at Reader to Reader, which is an off-campus a nonprofit organization. I volunteer at the emergency department at Cooley Dickinson, which is the hospital down the road in Northampton. I would say the biggest thing I've done is my involvement with the student newspaper, and that has actually played a lot into kind of how I see myself in the future being like a health professional. Because in newspaper, in learning how to write and communicate with people, you kind of get to master like something that a lot of doctors really need, like in this day and age. Like I think there's a greater need for better, clearer, and more effective providers and their patients. And so that's one of the things that you learn at Amherst, and like by learning that I was able to see how my I used to be editor-in-chief, so how my leadership also and how the things that I worked on kind of played into that. And through this I also actually got to interview like a lot of really cool alumni who are now doctors, doing things from like, you know, medical technology to like health policy. And so getting to know Amherst alumni who have left Amherst, gone to med school, and like done really cool things with their lives, really impactful things, has been really big for me. So, you know, shameless plug, join the newspaper. But aside from that, yeah, I've been involved in other things too, like the Amherst Christian Fellowship and other things. So I think at Amherst, being pre-med doesn't mean you just have to go one way. You have to take these, or like you do have to take certain specific classes, but you can also branch out, which is really cool, because I think with every class we take, even if it seems like unrelated, like even like art history or something, like I swear you'll find something in there that you can apply to like your goal of being like a health professional or like a doctor or whatever. So that's really cool, and I also really, really appreciate the culture at Amherst in terms of being pre-med, in the sense that it's not like a really cutthroat place like you hear about maybe at like some other places. I think people are really supportive. We're all kind of going through the same things, and so we only stand to benefit for helping each other out.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Maka. I'm a junior psych major here. Some of the things that I'm involved with here at the school, I'm on the track and field team. I played football up until this year. I'm also a peer mentor of Jim Lynn, and I was also a mentee So with the peer mentorship program, benefited a lot from it. I got paired with somebody who was going through the application process. So as a freshman, kind of not knowing what I was doing at all, just needing like any kind of advice, it was pretty cool to have somebody like who's already gone through Amherst and going through everything, and kind of just giving whatever kind of advice regarding like what internships to look out for, what kind of classes to take, even things just unrelated to pre-health. And it's just good to have someone looking out for you and watching over you. One of the bigger things I'm involved with here is a club called KVSAP. It's one of the few dope pre-health clubs that are here. So what we kind of do is we kind of partner with the different resource centers in the area. We kind of go in and volunteer as well as kind of talk to the people at these resource centers. And the big event that we have at the point, like a different point each semester, is we do a kidney screening. So what I really like about it is that we kind of just focus on kind of building relationships with people in town, as well as the idea of service, which I think is really important if you're trying to become a health professional, no matter what avenue that is. So that's one of the things that I really like about the club. I say one of the things I really like about Amherst is, like David just talked about, is just kind of going at your own pace. Coming in, I didn't necessarily take chemistry right away, like a lot of people did, but I was still able to just kind of find my own path and like fit courses into the way they work out best for me. So a lot of people kind of tend to do that. I was also able to explore different classes, especially when I was trying to decide like, all right, what is my major going to be? Kind of just explored. I took a geology class, social class, was just kind of figuring out where I was going to be at Amherst. Also, in regards to a lot of the pre-health students here, a lot of people, there's not one kind of pre-health student here, whether you're pre-med, pre-vet. A lot of people like play sports or they're involved with tons of different clubs. So one of the other things that I really like about Amherst is that you can come here with an idea of what you want to do, but still find other things you're interested in. I'm also part of the AXU Dance, which is the African Caribbean Student Union. So there's a ton for you to do here. So I guess one of the big things I can say is just when you coming here, you can focus on pre-health. You can also focus on other things you actually enjoy doing versus just doing things you think you have to do just to get to where you want to be.
Hi, I'm Christian. I'm a senior neuroscience major here, and so before I get into like listing off my resume, I just want to tell you a little story. So I came to Amherst. I was raised in Florida. I was born in Puerto Rico. I came to request for a here. Nice, awesome. So I was matched. So if you get the match, you know how like you feel lucky and you feel the same way, like it's surreal and all that stuff. But I was the first in my family to go to college. All those things that kind of go with that. And so honestly, when I was in your shoes, I was afraid. It feels like like you might come here and be overwhelmed or be an imposter or whatever. But the reason I wanted to come here is because I visited and I saw how friendly the people were here, how the professors seemed like they were amazing, they are. How I really liked how nice the freshman rooms are, like so much nicer than my room back home. All those things, right? And so every one of my fears throughout the 4 years that I've been here was proven wrong. And every one of the things that I thought I would like about Amherst was proven right. So that worked out, right? So if you, come to Amherst and you go through 4 years, what you're going to find is that everything that Sam, Julia, and Erickson said is absolutely true, right? You have room to explore, you have room to pursue your interests, you have room to do all of these things that you come to college to do, right? And being pre-med here especially doesn't, I don't think, should define you, right? I mean, it's strange when you think about it, like you don't see people going to law school saying, I'm a pre-med, you know what I mean? Like it's a weird, so being interested in a healthcare career, pre-med, is amazing, but it's part of a bigger journey. I think that's something that Dean Anderson and Professor Williams and everyone will tell you pursue what you're interested in. So one of the things I was interested in is neuroscience. That's my whole nature. So I was able to, through the 4 years I've been here, gotten amazing education in neuroscience, but also in everything else I'm interested in. One of the things I really like is literature a lot. I like English, and so with the open curriculum, you can take classes in anything you want. The world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want to do, and so that's been an amazing part of my experience here. As a pre-med, being able to do all those requirements, which are a lot of requirements, but just know that you always have more. Pursue your interest, and then professors. Professors are amazing. I think that's one of the things you're going to find. That, especially when you get to be, old like me, you find that your professors, become not just people who write you letters of recommendation or who, give you lectures, but they become friends and mentors, and that's really important. That's part of one of the reasons to come here is because the classes are small, you have time to talk to your professor, you have a kind of closer relationship to the people who are teaching you than you might at other places. What else? In terms of extracurriculars, a lot of great opportunities to do all kinds of things, just like Sandra mentioned. There's all these things you can pursue, the newspaper, dance, music, all of these things. But in terms of things that relate to kind of like medicine and stuff like that, there's also a ton of opportunities. For example, I'm currently on, I retired actually, so I'm not currently on, but I was on ACEs, which is our emergency medicine service thing that we have. So basically what we do is your first or second year here, you can choose to stay on campus over winter break, and you can take an EMT class. You're a fully certified EMT once you finish the class and do the exams and everything, and then you actually, we have basically on campus run in squads of 3 people, 12-hour shifts at a time, and you respond to emergencies that might happen on campus. And so that's an amazing opportunity to get experience, as an actual healthcare provider, as someone who deals with patients, that's incredible. Another thing that I've done is internships. Internships, great, especially the kind that you kind of get to know about and talking to your friends, talking to Dean Aronson. You can spend the summer doing some really amazing things. So one of the things I did was surf, which is what we call our kind of like, you spend a summer here at Amherst doing research with a professor in a lab if you're in sciences, or I think they also have humanity research. You can do all kinds of stuff. You spend the summer here and you get a stipend, you get housing, you get food. What else could you ask for? You're here, you're hanging out, and you're doing research in something that you're interested in. So that's an amazing experience. I also did an internship at like Bellevue, like this giant public hospital in New York. That was great. It's just a great place to be. And I probably forgot a bunch of things, but I can talk about it.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm from Southern California. I'm an economics major. There are actually quite a few pre-med people that are not hard sciences. We are not so far, but there are a lot of sociology, art history, English, which is one of the things that I like about being pre-med here, that I could be a social science major as well as pre-med, and I have room to do that and also take other classes. And that was a really big thing for me because I get excited about a lot of things and I don't like being kind of gated in, and this place has allowed me to do that in ways that I'm from California, so most people that I know, if they go to college, go to UCs that are more kind of regimented. So that's been really great. And what I would like to just kind of continue with what Christian was saying about professors. Professors here are really incredible, and I've been so fortunate to have them as mentors and friends, definitely, in my life, and babysit their kids and get invited over for dinner, and it's really cute and really sweet. And coming here, I heard people say that, but I didn't really get it. And now I'm also a senior. Now I do understand how valuable that is and how unique that is, and how important that is in a small school. I just cannot emphasize that enough. It's really a privilege. And then another thing that is I don't know, I think maybe some of you have studied abroad, but I got to study abroad last year doing it. My program was called Health and Community, and it was a comparative program in which we went to 3 different places. So we were in Vietnam, South Africa, and Argentina, and it was really focusing on kind of like the social justice aspects of health. So focusing a lot on environmental injustice and like the political economy and civil unrest, et cetera, global inequities and health. And it was an incredible opportunity that I just feel so fortunate to have been able to do that for a semester and be pre-med and be a non-science major. Like it's a lot of different things, and it's a lot of like tentacles everywhere that it's really nice to have the flexibility to do that. I also worked as an EMT with Christian, and he explained it so beautifully. And also the school pays for your certification in the class, which usually it's not, a free thing. So, and then also for your recertification. So I'm graduating with I got my continuing education hours here to then still be an EMT when I graduate, which is a national certification, which is really cool. And then on campus, I also work as a research assistant in my professor's biology. It's a genetics lab. So as a non-science major, I'm still doing hard science research, which is cool. And then I love teaching, so I teach as an economics teaching assistant, and then I also teach as a teaching assistant at a local adult education center. And I taught last winter the EMT practical component of the class. So I've been able to do a lot of different things that are, things that make me happy, and I think we will be able to give you more information once you guys ask specific questions. I don't want to just do this the whole time, but.
Hey guys, my name is Louis Brianis. I'm a junior majoring in biology, while also of course being pre-med, right? I want to just emphasize for the 5th time that the pre-health journey is amazing here because you don't have to spend all 4 years trapped in a bubble of science and solely pre-health activities. There's so much here to explore, and Dean Aronson actively invites us to find our passion in medicine, but also outside of medicine. And I was involved as a pre-health mentor myself and a mentee, and I was actually Jingwen's mentee. She taught me a lot. I also got to explore outside of that in the sense that I'm the senior chair for our campus's Latinx affinity group, and I'm the vice president of our student government. Furthermore, I really want to speak to how tight-knit the alumni connection is to students. I spent my past summer with the previous alumni from 2003 in Sacramento and working in his family clinic, and he was absolutely amazing. We got along really well, and we got to talk about our MS connection, and I felt like I was really, really able to look for any and all internships, especially for our alumni, and it was very open and free, and in fact we became amazing friends, and he's coming back for a reunion this year, and I can't wait to see him. And I absolutely love that the Career Center wants you to not only find an internship, but also go to the internship. It's hard to be from Los Angeles, but have to go to Chicago for a whole summer and find housing and find a way to afford all of that. But the Career Center has a process where you can apply for funding, and it's open to students of all class years. And in fact, if you hadn't received funding before, they prioritize you. So they help you find an internship, and then they make sure you get there. I think another important note that Jimmy brought up earlier was the fact that it's not a cutthroat environment or a competitive environment. I feel like I've seen in all sorts of pre-health TV shows and just in movies that it's super cutthroat and everyone's out for themselves, but I really never felt that kind of pressure. And it really feels like this pre-health family, however cheesy that sounds. We're really all in this together, and we're supportive of one another throughout the 4 years. And for instance, I hear about the MCAT scores my friends receive, and I think that's awesome. I just genuine happiness for someone else instead of thinking, damn, I really need to improve my app because I'm competing against that. definitely not the case, and it's just a wonderful feeling to be pre-med here. Like if you come to Amherst, you're definitely going to be in an environment that wants to see you succeed and will like offer any resources to help you in any way. So, yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric. I'm a philosophy major, which has been really great because I get to like take a break from just the sciences, like explore other things. I'm involved in the Amherst Christian Fellowship primarily. I was also the co-president of GlowMed, which is a global health club here. I currently serve on ASIMS, which is the ET Scholar, that Jennifer and Christian mentioned. And I am in DSAC, Dance and Step at Amherst College, which is like a hip-hop dance crew here, which I really enjoy. I've been in that for my time here. I also run a free barbering service, which has been really great, like getting to know people through that. I volunteer at the Amherst Survival Center, which is like a really great place here in Amherst. It's like a soup kitchen, food pantry, doctor's office, and store like that in one. It's like a Swiss Army knife. It's in terms of the pre-med experience here, I totally agree with everything that's been said already. It's like all 100% true. I think something that really stood out to me was how supportive the office is, not just like while you're going through the pre-med journey, but even when you're applying. I'm applying to med school this year, and when I tell when my mom tells her friends about like everything that the office is doing for me and like supporting me and like helping me build my app, like they're all like really shocked because their children are also like pre-med, but like they don't have any of that kind of like care that's like that individualized and personal. So yeah, like I'm applying this year, and I can definitely feel like much more comfortable and confident, in large part because I know that the office is going to be there for me like every step of the way, helping me every way they can, and that's like really comforting and encouraging. The other thing, and I think this is definitely much more in terms of like my personal experience, but learning not just the science that's like supposed to prepare me to like go to like a better med school or whatever, but growing in terms of like my sense and understanding of medicine and health as more than just like biological issues, but even like social issues. Learning about like how social inequity and like health disparities like have like a really intimate connection with each other, and that can be like really painful and discouraging. But in which medicine can serve as like a really powerful way to like serve those in need, and those who are underserved. So growing in my convictions and better understanding like why I'm in this, right? Because no matter where you are, even at a school as great as Amherst, being pre-med is hard, and like knowing why you're in it is like really powerful and helpful. So growing in those convictions, better understanding my privilege and confronting that, and learning to leverage that or being motivated by that to serve others and be the best actor I can be, I think was definitely a huge part of my personal growth here at Amherst. And I think, I'm really not sure if I would have gotten that same growth anywhere else.
Well, great. Thank you all very much. So now I guess we'd like to turn it over to you for any questions you've got. So if you would, just happy, we should have time to get lots of questions. Let us know what your name is and where you're from, and you're welcome to pose a question either to any one of us or to all of us. Yes?
Hi, my name is Jen. I know Amherst is a smaller school that might not have as many majors as some large universities. And so if I decide that I'm going to be a nurse or go into engineering, if Amherst doesn't have that major, how can I still get into that field?
So I'll just say something briefly. The health professions program is for, as I said earlier, it's a very comprehensive view of health and also health professions. So it's not just a pre-med program, it's truly a pre-health program. So yes, we do have students who want to go into nursing, students that are interested in biotech and engineering, students that want to go into mental health and psychology, go into public health, a whole variety. So that kind of advising for you would definitely be part of the program. Definitely.
And my second question is, I know there's a 32 engineering program.
I can, actually.
Hey,
I'm
Will.
the person to talk
Will.
about that.
Could you just repeat the question because I couldn't hear?
Yeah, so she asked if there was a 3-2 engineering program with Dartmouth. And so, yeah, I'm the local coordinator for that, and I can give you the details about that. But we send, you know, a couple students every year. We do 2 years here at Amherst. They go to Dartmouth for a year to take core engineering courses. They come back and finish their Amherst degree, and then they go to Dartmouth for a 5th year to take more technical engineering courses and get a Bachelor of Science in Engineering from Dartmouth. So it's a good choice for good option for some students. Whether or not that makes sense for you, I'm happy to chat with you afterwards, and we can sort of see where your interests are. But it's there are many ways for students to pursue careers in engineering and health, and for some students, the right thing to do is to go to a place where there's an undergraduate degree program, a major in that field. But for plenty of our majors, plenty of our students have gone on to great careers in all of those, in engineering, and nursing, and various health fields. And there are, I think, very few of them that have regretted their decision to come here and go through Amherst College. And it ends up taking about the same amount of time to get to the finish line. Other questions? Yes.
I have a question for Eric and for...
What's your name and where are you from?
Oh, I'm sorry. Nancy, and I'm from New Jersey. My son is in And Christian, I was just wondering why neurology, did you know when you came here, neuroscience? And if not, then was it something out here? And for you, Eric, I just was wondering what type of, do you have any particular focus on the one
No one looking for questions. So that
Yeah, right. So a question for Christian on, well, what? Yes,
Sure.
Go ahead and repeat it.
The question was, why neuroscience? Why go into it, here? Did I know right before I came that I wanted to do that? And the answer is yes, I actually did. So neuroscience at Amherst is interesting because Amherst had the first neuroscience degree of any school anywhere, and I kept hearing that it was just like the best neuroscience program. Like it was so good to study neuroscience here, and so that wasn't like the reason why I applied, but it just kind of made me think like neuroscience sounds pretty cool. It's something I've always been interested in. It combines all these different things that I like chemistry and biology, but not just one of its own. So I actually don't have a good explanation for why, but I didn't know before I came here that I wanted to do neuroscience. So it's amazing.
The question for me was what specialty I'm going to. So I'm actually trying to be very intentionally open-minded about that. Partly because I've heard from doctors that a lot of them went into med school with some idea of what they want to specialize in, and then came out with something totally different that they love. The other part of it is because I personally kind of experienced that coming into college. I was really into programming. I was making iPhone apps. I went to a dozen hackathons. So I was very sure I wanted to be a comp sci major. And October, I told my parents I'm going to declare, and they're like, no, don't do it. It's wait, you have a liberal arts education. You should just chill out and just see what you love. And then I just sat on that for a year until I found out that I really love philosophy, and then I'm a philosophy major and I love it, and I haven't looked back since. So moving forward, learning from that experience and moving forward, continuing to roll with the punches and see, not trying to over prepare.
Okay, what else? Yes.
I'm Vivian. I'm from Indiana. And my question is, I know that Amherst is a small town, so I was wondering if you guys have had any trouble finding opportunities, specifically shadowing opportunities, and if there's any sort of competition because of people interested in neuroscience.
So the question is, we're a small town. There have been difficulty finding shadowing opportunities, and do you feel a sense of competition on these things?
So I'm from Ohio, so I can kind of speak to the idea of being like somewhere where you're not like the alumni network at Amherst is super strong. And if you're like in a major city, I think you'll have like a lot of luck being able to find a ton of alums or like doctors and stuff, and you can shadow them. But I'm like from Ohio, so I don't have that as much. It was really difficult getting in touch with someone who was willing to allow me to shadow them or like one of their colleagues. But so then I talked to Dean Aronson, who actually got me in touch with someone in the area, who then got me in touch with someone else. So that was how I got some of my shadowing experience. Something else you can do when you're home is like find your own like family doctor, pediatrician, ask them about shadowing. And when I did a summer internship at it was like affiliated with like Harvard Med, so I was in Boston for a summer, and so that was another time where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by these like Amherst moms, I'm gonna go and kind of just cold email a bunch of them, and then one of them responded, and it was actually a really great experience. But in general, like your clinical experiences also don't have to be all shadowing. So right now I'm working as a volunteer at the emergency department at Cooley Dickinson, which has actually, I have probably learned more from that than I have from shadowing, but the shadowing is really passive. You're just kind of standing there while they do all things. And like with volunteering, you actually like kind of get more hands-on experience, even if you're not, you're obviously not the one like operating on a patient, but like you're there kind of caring for them and like learning a lot of the soft skills that you need when you do want to be a doctor. And so I think that has been really helpful. And there's like, so I think not a lot, but like there's a decent number of people who want to go into health fields who do volunteer through that program. They have a nice student program. There's other students from the 5 colleges who also volunteer there. And I think that has been a really good opportunity. And I don't think there's like a lot of competition because they can they need all the help they can get. So.
I'll say, as somebody who's occasionally been at Cooley Dickinson emergency room for the occasional broken bone, it's nice. I appreciate the volunteers that are there. Thank you. Yes?
Hi, I'm Matthew from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I kind of have a more general question. Just if you knew, like, this is a pre-med, I suppose, but if you knew going in that you want to do pre-med, or what's something that you would be able to kind of choose, I guess, more of your experience at Amherst?
So the question was, did you know coming in that you were pre-med, that you wanted to do pre-med, or did you come to that conclusion later on at your time in Amherst? Anybody got a piece of that?
Yeah, so I came in knowing that I wanted to be pre-med, and specifically since like 4th grade, I was like, be a pediatrician or a family practitioner, and that's been the same. It's been a constant. And when I got to talk to Dean Aronson about it, he just threw every resource he had at helping me, develop that passion, really make sure that that's what I want to do, and it's just strengthened over time. Like the 2 internships I've had have been with family practitioners who are pediatricians in the Los Angeles area or in like California. So going in, if you want to be pre-med, you'll definitely find that passion will be strengthened, and you'll have all the opportunities you can to explore that even more. And I'm sure someone else could attest to not being pre-med and going into this.
What about you, Dick? Did you come in being pre-med?
Not sure about it. So we really encourage people, if they're not sure, to be comfortable with not being sure. That's perfectly fine. And it's really good, actually, to spend time exploring and figuring out what is your passion and what works for you and what is a fit for you. So even if you're not sure coming in, that's really fine. We do encourage anybody who has an interest at all to come and see me or Professor Juanez, in their first year, as we encourage all pre-health students to come in during the first year. But yeah, as Louis said, even if you come knowing that you're pre-health, there's so much growth and potential for exploring and defining exactly what that means for you and reflecting about it. And if you don't know for sure, that's really fine. As I said, everybody has their own path. And many of our students take 1, 2, or 3 gap years after college. It's very common to do that. We don't there's no pressure that you have to, get everything done by a certain time, a certain date. You do it at your own pace.
I actually came in not sure I wanted to be pre-med. I had gotten some clinical experience, like being an EMT during high school and also like shadowing and stuff. And some doctors had told me like, listen, like if you should only be a doctor if you feel like it's a calling. Like if you can't imagine yourself doing anything else. Like that's not necessarily true, but like I believed it and I was spooked because like I was like 60-40% sure that I wanted to be a doctor because, like I said before, I was an app developer. I could like really see myself like being in Silicon Valley, like in the whole tech scene and everything. So I was like really not sure about it. But then coming here and like I spoke about before, learning about like confronting my privilege, learning about how medicine is like really impactful in enacting like social justice and like how they can inform each other, started like really convicting me. And then over the summer after my freshman year, I worked as a software developer for the Social Security Administration. And like there, I was like doing the work there, and it was like really cool, and it was also kind of healthcare related because with the disability insurance program. But then I started learning that like, even if I like keep doing this, right, I could infect like hundreds of thousands of people and like not really get to know them. And like I wasn't really about that. Like I really thrive on like personal interactions, possibly because I'm an extrovert. That's also kind of why I do that my barbering thing. But yeah, I think like through that, like through my experiences in Amherst, like learning about like gaining these convictions and these like, I guess maturing in my worldview, I guess, and like better understanding of what I believe in and what I care about. That's when I like started really solidifying the conviction that like, yeah, I think being a doctor is like the only thing that would make me happy.
I will say that like the pre-med track has like a pretty high like attrition rate, but like not necessarily because of like the class. Like you might have heard about like readout classes or stuff. Like that's not necessarily true. But I have a lot of friends who came in pre-med and then they like found something else that they hadn't been exposed to like in high school or whatever, and then like they decided to pursue that and said like I have friends who are like gonna do finance, but they came in like thinking they wanted to be doctors because like either their parents pushed them in that direction or they just like never knew what a career in finance could look like. Like, I mean, I still don't really understand finance, but like I'm happy for them because they like it. So, yeah, you might find also that you come in and you're exposed to something else, and that's great.
Also, I could add real quick, you don't have to declare your major until the end of your sophomore year at Max, and basically you have all the time you need to figure out if you want to be pre-med or not. And the prerequisites for the pre-med path, they're the general, like the English courses involved, there's a math course, there's a stats course, there's general biology, general chemistry, so there's not really a rush, you're not at a disadvantage for taking your time.
Yeah, maybe let me just, by way of sort of structural information, I'll add that there's not a pre-med major at Amherst College, so there's no formal declaration of being pre-med. Nor is there any default pre-med major. As the panelists have said, some pre-meds are science majors, but plenty are not. It's maybe, I don't know, I think I ran the numbers for the last year's class. It was maybe a bit more than half were science majors. So, and the majors here are intentionally relatively small footprint. So to major in some field entirely unrelated to pre-med courses and to do the pre-med requirements is not typically a terribly onerous imposition in the schedule. So, well, anyway, so other questions? Yes, let's see. Yes. What's that, sir?
I wrote my questions and make sure I didn't forget.
Great, that's fine. What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Charles. I'm from Jamaica. I had a few questions I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask about the difficulty in doing a double major and pre-med track. I noticed most of you, if not all, were single majors, whether in biology, philosophy, psychology, or neuroscience. I wanted to know if the people who did double major and how, if it's difficult to do a double major while having to fulfill the pre-med requirement.
Okay, so question one is going to be double major. Is it difficult, and do people do it while on the pre-med track? Okay.
Question two is, you spoke earlier about the 3-2 dual degree program, but I don't think you knew anyone who are on the pre-med track with that. So half of the completion of the dual degree and half of the course. If they went off to med school and that experience impacted them.
So question number 2, has anybody done the dual degree engineering program with Dartmouth and pre-med and gone on to do that? Okay.
My last question is about the research opportunities for neuroscience majors that we're trying to find. I'm also interested in careers.
And research opportunities for a neuroscience major. Sorry, I'm just getting those for the recorder since I knew I was going to forget if you gave me all 3 at first. All right, anybody want a piece of any of those? Go at it.
About the double major, just like some quick numbers. You can take 32 courses here, assuming you do 4 courses per semester. You can do 5 if you request it, but most people do 4 per semester. That's 32 total. With the first year seminar that's required, you only get 31. The pre-med track requires 13 courses, and each major is around 9 courses. Assuming no double counting at all, that's already 31. So that means, other than your 2 courses in pre-med, you don't take any other courses. So it's like, if you don't major, like people would often like have a double count with pre-med, like bio and pre-med, they have like a lot of courses that like count for both requirements. But ultimately, like yeah, you are kind of restricting yourself in terms of the diversity of courses and topic areas you can explore, but it is possible.
More answers along any of those lines? Yeah.
So relevant to that, I thought a long time about having an interdisciplinary major, which is kind of like a create your own major. So I originally thought, maybe I could double major, and then I thought I want to be able to have more flexibility in my schedule than that. And I find that I take a lot of economics and sociology courses because I think they make excellent conversation together and typically have very different views. And so I was thinking for a while of combining them so that I would get to choose my own requirements for my interdisciplinary major, so that allows you to be in multiple departments but have kind of more of a multi-pronged approach. I ended up not choosing that, really just because I thought I don't need to, because I do have flexibility in my schedule, so I can take those classes anyways. I don't need to make it into my own major. But then there are also certain majors that tend to be more interdisciplinary inherently. So there's like an American Studies major, which basically means I think there are 3 main courses, and then you have to take, maybe it's 5 or 6 that have to somehow relate to one of the American continents. And because we live in a very heavily globalized world, it doesn't even need to be centered on one of the American continents. So there are ways that you can, you won't have a double major on your transcript, but the courses that you'll be able to take will be such that you have kind of completed, majors, focuses in multiple departments.
And to kind of build off of that, some majors, it's a little bit more, I don't want to say difficult, but it takes a little more planning if you want to become a major. And so I think neuroscience is one of those majors. The requirements, I think, are like, 14 or 16 courses or something like that, out of 32. So if you wanted to add another major on top of that, you're talking 20-something required courses. And so people totally do it. People major in neuroscience and music, neuroscience and economics, whatever you're interested in, right? That's the important part. But it takes planning. So if you want to kind of double major in neuroscience and something else, you kind of have to sort of talk to your advisor and kind of see, okay, how am I going to go about doing this? Where am I going to put my classes? It just takes a little bit of planning. That's all. And then like if you want to study abroad, you have to kind of consider that. But I mean, it's doable. The only reason I didn't double major is because I considered double majoring in neuroscience and English, for example, right? My only concern with that is I would be taking, from my perspective, I was just like, I'm only going to take neuroscience and English, and that's it. That was terrible. I wanted to take other things, sociology, like history classes, all these things, and Amherst gives you the space to do that. And so that's why I personally didn't want to double major, but plenty of people do. If those 2 things you're incredibly interested in, then go for it. In terms of research opportunities for neuroscience majors, tons of them. There's so many. Right now I'm doing a thesis in neuroscience. That's due on Friday, so wish me luck. And I'm working in, I don't know if you know him, but Professor Trapani. He's amazing, but all the neuroscience professors are amazing, but I'm working in his lab, and I'm doing neuroscience research, actual hard science research. I'm writing a thesis, and that's an amazing experience. And so once you become a senior, that's something you can advantage of. But even before then, I did surf in the same lab that I'm now doing a thesis in. My pre-health mentor was a senior when I was a first year, and he was doing a thesis on the same thing that I'm now doing a thesis on, basically. So you get lots of opportunities for research in terms of surf. You can be here, and we're plenty of pre-health students apply to summer internships at in labs and hospitals. A lot of people go on after graduation to work in labs and doing more research and shadow alumni. I mean, there's so many different things you can do, and it all really depends on what you find yourself interested in. And so the professors we have here in neuroscience have different expertise, and so you can kind of sort of pick what you're interested in, be part of the lab. So even though it's a small school, it's not a research school, plenty of opportunities.
Yes, unfortunately, the time has reached.
One more question.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question.
Anybody?
Just
Someone
one
who
quick
was-
addition.
who hasn't asked
Also,
one yet?
my friend Ruben, who graduated last year, he was also a neuroscience major, and I know that he worked for a period of time in a neuroscience lab at UMass Amherst, which is like what we share a town with, so here, but as well the 5 colleges.
Yeah,
Go ahead, please.
Okay, great.
So I'm involved in an early psychology class right now, and I absolutely love it, but I want to go into neuroscience, because I was thinking of this year, we can speak about the similarities and differences.
Well, I haven't taken any neuroscience classes here, but I know I think you might have to take some as part of the neuroscience, or some psych courses as part of the neuroscience major. And of course, if you end up pursuing, like let's say you really just pursue neuroscience, right? The curriculum's open. You can take as many different courses as you want. I know a lot of people who major in like poli-sci or major in English, and they're like, oh, I heard this psych course in school, what do you know about it? And then they're taking courses. So, and you're very free to take whatever you want. Even if you major in psych and you hear about it,
Yeah, absolutely. The neuroscience major is kind of split up into 2 parts, basically. You have the biology part of neuroscience and the psychology part of neuroscience. So you overlap it out with psychology. But right now I'm in a class called psychopharmacology. Half of it is psych majors, half of it is neuroscience. So there's a lot of overlap, and I love the two sides. I feel like it's really awesome.
So, and for the recording, the question was compare the psychology and neuroscience majors. All right, well, thank you all. Thank you very much.